After many weeks of waiting, FURINA is finally here. That's right, the Hydro Archon, the god of justice, perhaps your newest waifu. I hope the RNG gods have blessed you with this character, and today I'm gonna give you a guideline on what she can do, give you an idea of what to build on her, some ideas for a team. So without further ado, let's get into it. Real quick though, I should go over what Arke Alignments are. It is mechanic unique to Fontaine, and there are two alignments, Osea and Numa. Every playable Fontaine character has one Arke alignment. FURINA though is a special case. She is able to swap back and forth between Osea and Numa at will, and depending on what alignment she is currently in during a fight can drastically change what she's going to be doing. But we'll get there when we get there. Her normal attacks do 4 strikes, and at intervals deal alignment damage, either Osea or Numa, depending on which one you are currently in. By default, she starts in Numa, and to toggle back between the two, you simply just have to use a charged attack. Hoyo even added a nice little detail making FURINA look different between her two alignments. In Osea, she'll be wearing black and blue with short hair, and Numa she'll be white and blue with long hair. Going into FURINA's abilities, her elemental skill is Salon Solitaire. This ability is reliant on what arc alignment she is currently in. In Numa, she'll summon a stationary familiar called the Singers of Many Waters that will heal your current active character based on FURINA's max HP. Swapping over to Osea, she'll summon 3 mobile familiars called the Salon Members that will attack your current target, dealing hydro damage. They, however, will drain your party's HP over time, until they're at 50%. But for every character drained, the stronger the damage these familiars do. Pretty much it'll go down like this. If all characters are being drained, it's a 140% boost. 3 characters 130, 2 characters 120, 1 character 110. The duration of these familiars is 30 seconds with a cooldown of 20, which means you'll be able to keep them up at all times. It's also worth noting that these familiars share a duration when you swap back and forth between the alignments mid-fight. A majority of the time you'll want to keep FURINA in her Osea alignment though. The skill also allows FURINA the ability to walk on water as well. Her burst, Let the People Rejoice, will deal AoE hydro damage based on FURINA's max HP and grant the party a buff called Universal Revelry. During the duration when party members' HP increases or decreases, it will give FURINA fanfare points, based on the percent HP has changed. The more fanfare points she gets during her burst, the more damage and healing received this buff does. You can gain a maximum of 300 fanfare points during her burst, and it lasts 18 seconds with an 18-second cooldown as well. Once the duration ends, her fanfare points also reset. Her passive is Endless Waltz, like that one Gundam movie. If the healing source is not coming from FURINA, and your active character is getting overhealed, FURINA will then heal your party for 2% of their max HP. Her second passive, Unheard Confessions, affect her elemental skill. For every 1000 of her max HP, she will increase the damage dealt in her Salon members by 0.7%, capping at 28. And the healing interval received by Singers of Many Waters is decreased by 4%, capping at 16%, meaning faster healing ticks. Getting FURINA to 40,000 should take full advantage of this passive. And her last one, The Sea is My Stage. This decreases the cooldown of your Xenochromatic Fontamir Aberrant ability by 30%. You know, those critters you whip around to steal their abilities when you go swimming. So here is a quick rundown of her constellations. C1, Love is a Rebellious Bird That None Can Tame, is a pretty good constellation. It'll give FURINA 150 fanfare points on burst activation and increases her max limit from 300 to 400. C2, A Woman Adapts Like a Duckweed in Water, is the first significant constellation on her. C1's pretty good, but C2 is a lot better. While she bursts, her fanfare point gain is increased dramatically by 250%, and each point above her maximum will instead increase her HP by 0.35%, capping at 140. The big thing to take away from this is her max HP increase. It'll significantly increase her off-field capabilities and buff your characters much, much better. C3, my secret is hidden within me. No one will know my name, is just your basic burst talent gets 3 more levels. C4 is alright. C4, they know not life, who dwelt in the netherworld not. That's a mouthful. Pretty much says, whenever her salon members hit an enemy or when Singer of Many Waters heals her, FURINA will gain 4 energy. C5 is the other basic talent skill getting 3 levels. And C6, Let Us Raise the Chalice of Love, absolutely busted. Pretty much turns FURINA into a one-person army. When she casts her skill, FURINA gains a buff called Center of Attention that lasts 10 seconds. In those 10 seconds, her normal attack, charged attack, and plunging attack deal hydro damage and cannot be overridden. Her damage is increased by 15% of her max HP as well. This buff is also reliant on what arc alignment she is currently in when hitting enemies. In Osea, all characters in the party will be healed by 4% of FURINA's max HP for 2.5 seconds. Triggering this multiple times increases its duration. In Numa, her normal attack, charged attack, and plunging attack damage are increased by 20% of FURINA's max HP. When any of her attacks hit an enemy, however, it will consume 1% of your party's current HP. That's still pretty damn good. All of the effects mentioned can stack 7 times and expires once it's been triggered that many times or when the duration ends. So pretty much the TLDR is big numbers go burr. It is busted. So artifacts for FURINA. Her best one is going to be Golden Trope. 2 pieces increase elemental skill damage by 20%, and 4 piece further increases that skill damage by 25%. And while they are not on the field, it'll again increase that skill damage by another 25%, though that effect will disappear after they take the field for 2 seconds. It is perfect for FURINA since her skill damage is very, very strong and she excels at off-field DPS. There are other alternative artifacts that you can go for with FURINA, but really none of them come close to the utility of Golden Trope. But for some alternate choices, you could go for the 4-piece Tenacity of Melolith. 2-piece increases HP by 20%, and 4-piece increases the attack of your party as well as their shield strength by 20% for 3 seconds when your elemental skill hits an enemy. It works well seeing as she needs the HP, and her skill in Osea will hit enemies quite often. Other alternative combos that you could go for would be a mix of artifacts. You could stack 2 artifacts that grant HP bonuses, or you could mix Golden Troop with, say, Emblem of Servant Fate, get some energy recharge out of that, or just mixing it up with more HP. There are a lot of alternative combinations that work great with FURINA, but overall, Golden Trope is a cut above the rest. And now comes the fun part, artifact grinding. Now for FURINA, energy recharge is pretty vital for her, seeing as you're able to keep her burst up at all times. I would say to shoot for a minimum of 150 energy recharge though, and then prioritizing the other stats after that. But if you do get higher than 150 ER, I would say try not to overshoot 180. Anything higher than that will be excessive. Now with that being said, Sans main stat I would say go for energy recharge or HP depending on what you need. Goblet, I would say go for main stat HP. Though if you aren't running a full 4-piece Golden Trope, I could see an argument going for hydro damage as well. And then the circlet will be your typical crit damage crit rate ratio that you're going for, depending on what you need. And then as for the substats, I would again prioritize that energy recharge till you meet that minimum, and then going for crit rate, crit damage, and then HP. Percent's usually better than flat. Now, this took me months of grinding to get this FURINA where she is now, and even still, it's not the best, but I wish you all good luck on your domain grinding. Now for some weapons. FURINA has quite a number of swords that work well with her kit. Now, obviously, her signature weapon is best with her, so I won't go into too much detail about it. But pretty much it'll increase her elemental skill damage when party members' HP increases or decreases. It will also increase her maximum HP when HP increases or decreases as well. And the most important thing is this can all be triggered while she's off field. Not to mention the most important thing is the drip sword cane that looks perfect with her. Primordial Jade Cutter is also a really good 5-star weapon if you've gotten that one. It'll increase her max HP and grant her a crit rate. Now, if you've managed to snag Nilou's signature weapon, but not Nilou herself, the Key of Kajnisut is also pretty great as it grants her more HP. Now, moving into 4-star territory, if you've invested into the Battle Pass, Wolf Fang is pretty decent for her. It'll increase her skill and burst damage. When a burst hits an enemy, crit rate will also increase. These effects last 10 seconds and can stack 4 times. And if you've been playing this game for a really long time, if you've been around for version 1.1 for the event, Festering Desire is one of her best free-to-play weapons. Grants her energy recharge and increases elemental skill damage and crit rate. If you are out of luck on that front, considering that this weapon is no longer available, you can try fishing for the Flovsender Ferryman. It'll increase her energy recharge and increase elemental skill crit rate. But if you're too lazy to fish, which I won't blame you for, the Favonius Sword is just generally a good weapon overall. It'll give you good energy recharge for her, and you'll be able to help your party build their bursts back up quickly as well. So FURINA's main role is going to be support. And wow, is she good at that. She can heal also, but it's only single target. And you will rarely see her main DPS outside of C6. So with that in mind, what kind of team can she support? Well, the answer? All of them. The only thing that she would like to see is another strong healer on the team, but even that's not really necessary depending on what team you have. It is ridiculous to see how flexible she is. No matter what Hydro-related reaction you're going for on the team, she'll make it work. Some strong healers that go great with her are Kokomi and Jean, since they're able to heal the party fairly quickly and easily. Kokomi especially for that double Hydro buff. But you can also slot in, say, 2 weaker healers such as Kuki and Yao Yao with 1 main DPS and still see some really good results. So if you want to get started, I would recommend Jean or Kokomi with FURINA. FURINA has such good synergy with so many of the characters that it can take a while to figure out what you want to do. So I'll give you guys a quick rundown and some examples to help you get started. So the first on my list of teams to build with FURINA is going to be Elon, FURINA, Jean, and Hu Tao. Good old Vaporize. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hu Tao with a healer. But hear me out. Considering FURINA can drain your entire party's HP, it'll be easy to keep Hu Tao at low levels at most of the times. Besides, FURINA is not going to be able to single-handedly heal this entire team up to a respectable amount of health. Just because Hu Tao likes to operate at a low HP doesn't mean the rest of your party has to. So that's why Jean is in there to help maintain the rest of your party, while Hu Tao's still able to operate at a low HP value with FURINA's abilities. Second on my list here is going to be a Hyper Bloom reaction using FURINA, Kokomi, Nahida, and Shogun. Pretty self-explanatory here. Use Nahida to apply Dendro to all of them. FURINA can off-field apply Hydro as well as Kokomi, and then Shogun as your main DPS. And you also got Kokomi to be able to maintain your HP values with your entire party as FURINA continues to drain them. And since Charlotte is debuting this banner, she pairs pretty well with FURINA. It's the same freeze formula with just different teams. You have your 2 Cryos, Charlotte and Ayaka, FURINA applying the off-field Hydro, and then Sucrose to help with that Elemental Masteries and Swirl. Ayaka, of course, being the main DPS here. and then Charlotte being able to heal the party up when need be with her burst. So for these next two teams, I apologize, I will not have footage of it because I do not have these characters. But Nuvalet and Risley did just come out as well before FURINA, and they also go very well with her. If you're looking to do a Risley team, it's going to be Freeze, since he's a cryo, and it'll be FURINA, Risley, Kokomi, and Kazuha or Sucrose, depending on who you have, with Risley as main DPS. And then if you want to pair with Nuvalet, well, honestly, the two just go so well together, they can solo Abyss. I've seen it. But if you really wanted to do a 4-man team, Nuvalet, Fischl, Jean, and FURINA could work. You could swap out Fischl for Yaimiko or Raiden. Really, you're just looking for the supercharge. Or, honestly, any Hydro reaction that involves Nuvalet and FURINA could just work as well. It is a very, very flexible composition you could play around with. And this team here is kind of interesting, bringing back good old Noelle. So it'll be FURINA, Noelle, Xingqi, Yelan. And the idea here is pretty much bursting with all your characters. Yelan, Xingqi, and then FURINA. Swapping to Noelle last, shield and burst. Seeing as Noelle can heal your characters when she is shielded, she's going to be able to help build fanfare points for FURINA very easily. And then FURINA's just draining away, so it's a massive buildup of fanfare points. And it does a lot of damage overall. The only problem with this is Noelle's energy recharge, seeing as her burst uses a lot. But if you're able to overcome that, this team is actually really fun to play. Now this little troll team is a pretty fun one. It is the I will sit here and let my elemental skill murder everything. You send out FURINA's Salon members to attack any enemy, dealing Hydro. Yaimiko has 3 electric totems that'll just strike enemies with lightning. Kokomi has that jellyfish that'll heal you, and if anyone gets too close, deal damage to them. And then Fischl has that bird Oz that will deal damage to enemies as well. So you can literally sit there, have them do all the work, and they're also dealing the electro-charged reaction. I recommend it. It's pretty fun to watch. Okay, before I go into the Spiral Abyss showcase, I would like to share some last words about FURINA if you are on the fence about pulling for her. I recommend it. Highly recommend it. She is one of the strongest units in the game already, and she just released. She's pretty easy to learn as well. The only real tricky part about her kit is managing your party's HP, if you don't have a wide variety of healers. But new tech is still being figured out with her, and she's only going to get better from here. No matter what team you play, she can find a place to fit and support. Her ability to walk on water is great for overworld exploration, and for newer players, she's still worth the pull. Granted, her materials are going to be in Fontaine, which is a ways off if you're very new to the game. But if you do the trial play for her, they'll give you the materials to ascend her at least once, and that alone is enough to help you get started and produce good results with the team you're using. But without further ado, please enjoy this Spiral Abyss showcase with FURINA.
私のお家にいらっしゃ見切りました僕をたたえよ世界の熱狂の渦ここより弱滅の時さてやっ全部丸見えね歌え僕の名のもとに 無我の境地やってっはっふって見切りましたてっ
フォークを立つ。これこそが知恵の源、騒乱の意。助けて、歌え、僕のあれ狂いなさい。はっやっはっはっふっはっはっはっはっふっ。行きましょう。手強いですね。手をつなぎます。お披露目だ。
ここより弱滅の時
フォークをたたご安心を。それ私のお家にいらっしゃい。世界の熱狂の渦に海のちぎりよ。へいはっはっふっはっやっせいはっ騒乱の憩い。
逃げ道はあります。
手をつなぎカジャーンはっ歌え、僕の生も
やっはっやっ見切りました無我の境地やっはっはっ悪を嫌い
失策ご助力を。